All right, I'm Zach. Welcome to another episode of Tactics Tuesday. Today we are going over trapped pieces, which can also be found in the puzzles dashboard, like we normally do to find all our tactical motifs. So trap pieces, it's good to practice these so that you train yourself to see when you have a chance at a trap piece. A lot of times these are easily missed, and a lot of times this isn't necessarily meant to teach you how to find a trap piece. However, it is to encourage you to go do your own tactics on trap pieces, because the more often you do them, the easier you'll see them in the future. So we'll go over a few here and kind of go what it's about and go into some detail. So the first one we have, the first tactic that comes up, being able to spot the trap piece. So we're going to look here. It's this queen, obviously. This queen doesn't have very many spaces to go. The knight's protecting here and here, and the pawns are protecting the rest. So one well-aimed attack at the queen would do it. And the way to do that, we don't want to trade off queens or anything like that, because that kind of defeats the purpose. So bishop d1, and the queen has no place to go. If she tries to run here or something, knight will just take. So it goes ahead and trades for the knight. All right, let's go to our next one here. So this one, we've got our king in the back here. We can see that we're kind of aiming at this rook. So it's our turn. We could go ahead and take this rook. However, we need to make sure, once again, with trap pieces, that we're looking at everything. And we have a threat first to look at, if you can see it. This queen right here on c3. So if we go ahead and just take that, then queen's going to take c3, forking our king and rook, and then it's even material. Even after taking the knight, I wouldn't say that that black's much better here. So correctly, we have to deal with this threat first, and that's the important part of this. Not seeing that this is trapped, that's easy. We need to make sure we deal with the threats first. So knight to e2, protecting this square here, and if pawn comes, we just capture, or queen c2, trying to trade off, and we go ahead and take. And from here, we're attacking this, so king's probably going to come in, and then we can take the pawn, and we're threatening to bring our knight in and start attacking, start a fork here, a lot of stuff like that. So the main part here is making sure we deal with all threats before we attack that trapped piece. Making sure our defense is covered. We don't want to end up with a mate on our hands because we're getting too hasty. All right, third one. This one actually happens pretty often. A knight will overextend and come into your backfield, and then you don't, you want to make sure that the pawns are well placed for that. And if our pawn was here, we'd go ahead and move it there, just so, because we see these squares are being cut off here. All his squares are cut off except for this one. So we're going to make him retreat there, and then he gets us the check. But after we go b2, he's got nowhere he can go. Our king and our pawns are protecting everything, and that's how we're going to trap that knight. So seeing in the beginning here that the knight only has one square to go here, and after that one square, absolutely nothing. Allows us to trap that knight in the corner. All right. And then this one's a little deeper here. There's a lot going on in this one. So we're down a queen, and we're down a queen for a bishop. And right now we can see this rook has a discovered attack on the queen. Alright, as we can see, there's a discovered check on the queen with our rook. So moving the knight will open that rook up to attack the queen. Now, if we just open up the knight, however, if we go knight c6 or knight a6, this doesn't work exactly because the queen's not trapped. She can go h7, and it's with check, which means after we move our king, she escapes. So No, that's not escaping. That's escaping. So we need to deal with this check first. We want to cut off these 2 squares for the queen, because those are the only 2 squares that the queen actually has right now to go. After we uncover this rook, she'll have nowhere else to go. So a great way to do that is with our bishop. These 2 diagonal squares. So the bishop comes in with check, which is important because it gives us time. So we're cutting off those 2 retreat squares for the queen, and the king has to move. And then whenever the king moves, we can go ahead and move our knight, and we need to be careful and looking ahead, because if we move our knight to c6, that blocks our bishop, and the queen's able to take on a8. So knight actually has to go to a6, and bishop protects, and the queen is going to trade the rook for the queen, and now we're roughly even in material, but when we were behind a good amount because we saw this trap queen here, and making sure we've got everything set up. We want to make sure the whole net is cast around the queen before we make our move. And that's it for today for all the Tactics Tuesday with the trap pieces. I highly suggest you go on and do your own tactics for them. The more you do it, the more it'll get burned in your brain. And that's all I got for you. Thanks, guys.